Ever heard the saying, spare the rod, spoil the child? Well, that was the parenting mantra of old school Black mothers. They ran a tight ship, no nonsense allowed. Picture this, a young kid daring to misbehave in church. All it took was one stern look from mom, and that kid was praying for mercy. The fear of mom's wrath was stronger than any sermon. So, you see, back then, a single glance was enough to put the fear of God in you. Fast forward to today, and the rod has been replaced by the Wi-Fi password. Oh, how the times have changed. Today's parents have turned to technology as both a carrot and a stick. You see, the Wi-Fi password has become the new bargaining chip, the ultimate tool of manipulation. It's the modern day equivalent of, you can't go outside until your homework is done. Let's imagine a scene. Little Timmy, a notorious homework dodger, has once again decided to skip his math assignment. His parent, Armid, with the power of the Wi-Fi, steps in. No homework, no Wi-Fi, Timmy. The threat hangs in the air like a storm cloud. Timmy, a certified Fortnite addict, is suddenly motivated to conquer algebra like never before. The Wi-Fi password has become a symbol of power, a beacon of hope, and a source of dread, all rolled into one. And just like that, the Wi-Fi password became the modern version of the look. In the old days, discipline often meant a trip to the backyard to pick your own switch. Today, it's more like a trip to the naughty corner. The switch, a symbol of old school discipline, was more than just a tool for punishment. It stood for respect, obedience, and the understanding that actions have consequences. Now, let's contrast that with the modern naughty corner, a timeout zone where kids are supposed to reflect on their misdeeds. Here's a funny anecdote for you. Little Timmy, a tech-savvy 6-year-old, has turned the naughty corner into his secret lair. Sent there for refusing to eat his vegetables, Timmy was all smiles. Why? Well, he'd stashed his tablet there earlier. So instead of stewing over his punishment, he spent his time leveling up in his favorite game. Who knew the naughty corner would become the new secret hideout? Forget about, I don't like vegetables. In the old days, you ate what was put in front of you, no questions asked. Mealtimes were a battlefield of wills, where the green beans were the enemy, and your only ally was the stubborn determination of your mother. Picture this, a young chill, face scrunched up at the sight of the dreaded broccoli. The child pushes the offending vegetable around the platee, hoping it will magically disappear. But Mom, she's seen this tactic before. She leans in and with a twinkle in her eye, spins a tale of children in far-off lands who would give anything for just a bite of that nutritious broccoli. Fast forward to today. Convincing a child to eat their greens is less about tales of hardship and more about clever marketing. Broccoli isn't just a vegetable anymore. It's Hulk food. It's the secret power source of their favorite superhero. And just like that, the green beans aren't so scary anymore. Nowadays, kids are more likely to be convinced to eat their greens because they're Hulk food. From the look to Wi-Fi passwords, from switches to naughty corners, parenting sure has evolved. It's been a hoot to compare and contrast the ways of the past with the methods of the present. Let's take a moment to recap some of the highlights. Remember when we discussed the no-nonsense era? Oh, the days when a stern look could stop a child in their tracks. Then there's the modern world's equivalent, changing the Wi-Fi password. Sure, it's less immediate, but the panic that ensues when the internet goes out is priceless. Then, we have the old school switch versus the modern naughty corner. Both methods aim to teach a lesson, but the switch was a tangible reminder of wrongdoings, while the naughty corner, well, it gives kids a chance to contemplate their life choices or plan their next mischief, whichever comes first. And who could forget the contrasts in discipline? Where once stood a formidable figure of authority, now stands a negotiator, desperately trying to reason with a 3-year-old. But regardless of the era, the purpose remains the same: to raise good, responsible human beings. And the journey to achieving that, it's filled with funny, frustrating, and unforgettable moments that make the whole thing worthwhile. Whether you're an old school parent in a modern world, or a modern parent with an old school heart, one thing's for sure: parenting is one hilarious roller coaster ride.